Hi everyone, this is Raffaela and this is my older adult oral video presentation. For my presentation, I decided to interview my colleague's grandmother, Miss Sally, who is 91 years old. And from our interview, I decided to use stage 8 from Erickson's stages of psychosocial development. And stage 8 is integrity versus despair. And from our textbook, stage 8 is explained as people in older age reflect on their lives and take inventory of their successes. People who are satisfied with what they have accomplished have a sense of well-being and peace, but those who are not satisfied have a sense of despair and feel lost with their opportunities. From interviewing Miss Sally, she is definitely in the integrity piece of stage 8, and I will explain to you more why I believe she's in integrity and not in despair. Miss Sally has a very nurturing family. They are very supportive and are there for her no matter what. Even though she had some difficulties in life, such as her sister being sick, she still accomplished everything that she wanted to in life, with some challenges with some of the things that she wanted to accomplish, but she was still very positive about that, even though she didn't accomplish them. Um, she was able to go off to college and receive a degree in teaching, which she thought she wouldn't be able to complete because of how supportive she was at home, or how much support she was providing at home because of her sister being ill. After college, she fell in love and got married and had 6 children. Um, she actually met her husband because of her best friend. Her best friend was actually dating her husband, and they didn't work out, so she started to date him, and many years later, they got married and had children. Um, Her family is very involved in her life. They support her with everything she has done and continues to do. She currently volunteers for many different places, and she shared with me that if she did not have her volunteer work, um, she doesn't know where she would be right now. It keeps her happy and it keeps her busy, and she loves helping others. Um, Currently, her volunteer work includes local libraries, her church. She runs a club called the Women's Club, which is for individuals who would like to return back to college to receive scholarships. And she also loves playing the bridge with her friends. If you do not know, the bridge is a card game. Um, After our interview, I noticed that Miss Sally is in the integrity piece of stage 8. She is very happy with her life and her accomplishments, and she has been very successful. Um, she loves what she does with her volunteer and loves the support that she receives, um, and really did not have much negative to say about life. So I thought that was very nice, and that's why I believe she is in the integrity and not despair. Even though she had many challenges in life, such as her sister being sick, she stayed very positive growing up. Her sister was diagnosed with brain damage at the age of 10 months. Her parents noticed that she wasn't meeting her milestones, so they started to take her to numerous of doctors where she was diagnosed with brain damage due to a mosquito bite. Miss Sally was very young when her sister was diagnosed. She was 4 years old. So Miss Sally explained that to kind of be her norm, taking care of her sister and not having family vacations and just it being the four of them. Um, but she said she was okay with it. Her husband was in the Navy, so he was deployed often. So that made her kind of feel like a single mother. She had 6 children, so she had a lot to do, and they kept her busy. But one thing that she really wished that she had that that she wished that she has done would be to return back to school for her master's. She wanted to return back for her master's in occupational therapy, but sadly that did not happen. But when she shared that with me, she was very positive about it. She just said, everything happens for a reason. So maybe that's why she didn't return. Maybe that there was a reason behind it. And she's okay with that. She expressed that she was very happy about her accomplishments, which includes her teaching degree. She taught for many years and expressed that she loved every second of it. She had a beautiful family, 6 children, many, many, many grandchildren. Um, and she was married for 60 plus years, and her husband passed away 9 years ago. Um, and her volunteer work was something that she spoke very highly of. Without her volunteer work, she wouldn't know where she would be today. So I'm very happy that she has something to keep her busy and motivated every day. Because I think if she didn't have her volunteer work, she would not be in the integrity piece of stage 8. I think she would be in the despair. Um, but she's keeping herself going every day, even at the age of 91 years old. She had many challenges in life, such as her sister, her husband, life changes, and not being able to return back to school. Throughout the interview, she shared with me that life changes were very difficult for her, especially with her generation from today's generation. And I'll go more into detail about that at the next slide. But life changes has been very challenging for her. And if she wasn't so positive and like the positive attitude that she had and the support, again, I don't think she would be in the integrity piece. She had many challenges, but she fought through them and she was strong. Um, and I decided to include all of my articles in this because I think they're all very important and I can relate them to Miss Sally. So the first article I decided to further review was regarding mental health from back then to now. The article discussed how back then individuals did not go to therapy. Individuals were not diagnosed with any mental health diagnoses, and the need of mental health services were not very much. But if you go back, if you relate it to nowadays, individuals attend therapy, and there are many individuals that are diagnosed with a mental health diagnosis, and the need of mental health services is just increasing rapidly. Lastly, the article reviewed integrity versus despair. Integrity is being honest, strong morals, and positive attitude, which again, that's Miss Sally. And despair is being hopelessness and loss in life. Article 2 includes disasters from back then to now. Back then, you didn't hear much about mass shootings or bullying, or individuals had to attend therapy because of PTSD. But nowadays, all you hear on the news is mass shootings and how individuals are being bullied at school. And due to these incidents, individuals have to go to therapy for support. Article 3 includes your well-being, and volunteer work is so important for your well-being. And that's why Miss Sally says so much positive things about volunteer work, because I think if it wasn't for her volunteer work, she physically and mentally would not be where she is today. Lastly, Article 4 includes housing for the elderly. Miss Sally is not living in a nursing home, but at one point, her family had to discuss that with her. But they all thought it would be okay for her to remain in the residence where she raised her children. So that is where she will be. But some elderly need to move to nursing homes. So they do need this support from their family and friends and also social workers. Miss Sally has a great natural support system in her family, her children and grandchildren, and her volunteer work. Without the support that she has, she would be struggling and, and wouldn't be happy with her life. I also thought this was very important to include for Miss Sally. Um, so if we look at this and where it says you, we could just pretend that's Miss Sally in there. And then all around her would be her family, her school, her peers, her religious, her workplace, which we could say is her volunteer, and her neighborhood. And that is kind of just everybody that is around her. And it's that face-to-face contact. We could look at the next circle where it says family with the arrows, and school and the arrows, and the peers, and kind of let it all relate to one another and how they interact among each other. And then we could kind of look at the next circle, the ecosystem, I guess we could say. And that's how all of the settings the settings in which things happen that affect people. So I think all of her support system kind of makes her who she is. So I think that's really important for Miss Sally. The second theory that I decided to include into my presentation is the medical model. Even though Miss Sally's not the one that was diagnosed with a medical condition, it was her sister, I still believe that played a huge part in her life. Again, her sister was diagnosed at the age of 10 months with brain damage, and she had to live with her, knowing that her sister was not going to make it. But she actually did make it until the age of 46 years old, which doctors never thought she would have. But it's always that fear every day of knowing, is my sister going to make it today? So I felt that was very important to include for this assignment because the medical model was important to her due to her sister's diagnoses. As defined in our textbook, the medical model is from Freud's ideal about the roots of psychological problems as well as from advances in medicine in our understanding of psychological process. This includes the theory limitations for both the medical model and Erikson's model. The limitations for the medical model includes that you need to have you have to have a diagnostic criteria for mental illnesses, which can be unrelatable among clinicians. And then the nature versus nurture. Some of it individuals are born with it, and some individuals it's environmental. The limitations for Erikson's theory is everyone goes through their life and their stages differently. So we can't really say, oh, you have to be in this stage of life at this age, because everyone goes through life differently. So it's really hard to say that. And then lastly, everybody believes in their own cultural, their own religion. So that is also a limitation with Erikson's theory.